Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to round number 6. And if you didn't get enough of Braden Walker playing Trafalgar Law, he's back versing Ernest Sue, who hasn't revealed his leader yet, but has revealed his demo playmat.
And we saw Braden the round before. We're not falling for this law trick again. We know
until a
that he's
judge
got
comes in. Oh, judge is
yeah.
in. Judge is in.
Hey
Hasn't
mate,
mentioned it
unfortunately you
yet.
can't use cards that have been through the wash.
Hasn't mentioned it yet. It's just waiting for him to kind of get rid of that. But I mean, at the same time, Ernest hasn't revealed his leader at all yet. I don't know what they're kind of waiting for here, because you do have to reveal it before you do a dice roll.
Yep, yeah. So they're just doing their cuts.
Changing, yeah.
Lord leader will get revealed right before the dice. Maybe he doesn't want to give his opponent more time to think about the matchup.
Okay, maybe. I don't even know if that's even like a thing these days. I mean, just
Well, Braden's strategy is clearly I'll just have a leader that you can hardly distinguish.
And here we go.
Ooh,
Ooh.
Ivankov.
This is going to be a spicy matchup. We obviously saw Ivankov,
Yeah.
I think it was round 1, and now we're in round 6, so we're about to be 2/3 of the way through, and we're starting to see these leaders really pile through again still now. So, again, we've saw one Ivankov that wasn't this player. We're seeing Law now come back into it 2 games in a row. Rolled a 6
Yep.
for Ivankov.
I missed what Law rolled.
Yeah, I don't think I saw Law roll either.
He did roll, but I think I missed what he.
Okay, we're too stuck on the washed up leader card that apparently is going to be able to be played here. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we know that he's got an alt heart sitting there somewhere, but
I mean,
he's clearly just left that just in case he wants to play with these. Yeah, he's obviously done a lot of testing. As you can see, the wear on his leader from turning it sideways is just lit this leader on fire.
It's been through the ages, mate. He's seen everything, and he does get the Nami off turn 1. A great start. He obviously got to go first, and look at that Gold Don flex coming in from Ernest. Got to show him who's boss.
You may have a washed up, trashed leader, but there's nothing but pristine on this side. And he's even got the demo play mat to protect the mat underneath.
Well, not even that. Braden is obviously rocking the super pre-release Don as well. So he's going max rarity, min rarity. There's no middle ground. There's no logic to be had. Ernest not being able to play anything with that 2 Don that he has available now, which is very interesting. Maybe opting for a field card and getting the heart react from Ernest. And wow, Makino coming out.
Just wants to get these attacks in, and I'm sure we'll see Ivankov start using the cards in hand to counter out, just accelerating their game plan to having less cards in hand and maintaining a high life total.
And yeah, high life, low cards in hand. That's the play style of Ivankov. And I thought that maybe the judge was going to do a bit of a meme and, call him out on the leader and give him like a warning or something after it started instead of doing it beforehand. But he's still playing with it. And the last 2 Don, now this is what we thought Law players wanted to see, right? Like this is now turn 2, Nami, Makino, Bonnie, Chopper. You can't get better than this.
Yeah, Ivankov will have 1 attack to be able to clear up either of the Nami or the Makino.
Oh, Makino for sure, yeah.
Yep, definitely. But Nami will most likely live through the following turn unless he has some way to bounce it. And that's the problem as well, is that Blue has a lot of effects that bounce back into hand, but if you're bouncing these 1-drops back into hand, then he just gets another search, and for 1 Don is going deeper into his deck, and it's not too concerning, really. This is a 7k, most likely into lead then.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to do it into Makino, right? You don't need to go aggressive, but using 2 Don here, very, very interesting. feeling like he might not have anything. And he could have done the Doffy play. Like, he obviously used that combo previous turn to get out of the swing. And now leaving himself with only 2 Don active and just a chopper block. I mean, makes sense. Now here comes the other 2.
Yeah, Alvito will come down. Alvito will be able to bounce cards on attack as well with the Don. I believe hitting a cost of 2 or less off the top of my head. So utilizing a 2k counter just to be able to control the field a little bit better later on into the game.
And now, do you really want to use like the Bonnie search and give your opponent a way to? Wow, he does. I was going to say, because if you just keep all 1-drops up, then you're kind of saving yourself for a bit later. But uses it, finds another one, probably a really good hit by opting to use that ability.
Yeah, if he has 2 more 1-drops, he can do his leader effect into a law or into a red card.
And still,
we see Markino, into the Nami.
Yeah, ends up taking it. And now, obviously, like you said, Braden obviously does have 1-drop, able to play the Jewelry Bonnie to get 4.
Yep, gets a card out of hand.
Oh, wow. Vista to get rid of the Alvida.
Yeah.
And then 1 more to play the other Bonnie, and that is what a phenomenal first 3 turns.
Yeah.
Coming in from Braden. Yeah. And now Ivankov just sitting at an empty board, staring down 5 bodies, which is exactly where Law wants to be. And you haven't been able to stick anything onto the board itself. And you cut, I mean, the leader, obviously, like you said, thrives off, obviously, having lower amounts of cards in hand and then being able to replenish them randomly. But, I mean, in this situation, I really don't think that's what you want to do anyway.
Yeah, he doesn't quite have the 7 done yet to be able to play out at Ivankov. So it's just a little bit of an awkward turn, isn't it? He's pretty much going to be able to establish something onto the field.
Going for the Luffy play.
Luffy, yeah. So just opting to play it without the Ivankov. He just needs to establish a strong 7k on the field and get some removal. And then from here, Law will be able to set up once again, get an additional attack with the Nami off the Makino if he wants. That'd be 3 5k swings just from that card that he played. What was that, turn 2 or turn 1?
Yep, Nami was turn 1. Makino
so much value.
Yep.
Finds the Law, a pivotal piece in this deck.
And nothing feels worse, right, than, having to swing into these 1-drops or, just to kind of get rid of the board presence with a 5k swing and stuff like that. Like, it's just always the biggest feels bad, having to do this.
Yeah. We know that Vista's been bounced back to hand. We see the other 5k swing again. And if he wants to counter out of this, it's going to cost him 50% of his hand.
Yeah.
Ops 2 is a 2k counter.
Yeah.
See the Zoro. We could see a 1-drop into Law to establish the Zoro again and get another 5k attack.
And here he comes.
Just so much pressure being put on by Law.
There's a chopper. Yep. And now most likely going to be able to swing with lead for 5.
Taps the 2 first. The Nami.
Yep.
Does have to be a red card.
Yeah, it does have to be a red card. You're right. Yeah. So bouncing back the Nami and probably going to play the Law.
Yeah, to restand or bounce the Zoro back, perhaps. Not bounce back the Bonnie.
He doesn't want to go for the more pressure play. He wants to
play the Nami.
Yeah.
Search the top 5 again.
Okay, just get that card advantage because you've still got your leader swing coming. And, if you bring your opponent down, wow, it gets unblockable Luffy. But, putting 3 cards in your opponent's hand at this point, you don't really care, right? Ooh.
Yeah, always got a trigger.
Choosing to see if he wants to play the trigger. Yeah.
Can this be a bit of a saving grace here? Because right now, Law has just dominated this matchup. We're going to get a bounce 4 or less. Gets rid of the blocker.
Can't play it again.
Yeah, very lucky there.
Ooh. Yeah.
Probably was hoping to use that block to kind of protect the Zoro.
Absolutely. I mean, you probably want to use like almost both blockers on this turn and maybe be able to like counter out because you're still
Yeah,
sitting on
protect the
4
Law.
lives. Law has not taken a
Yeah.
life yet. Ivankov hasn't been able to put any pressure on. He's kind of been his board has been controlled. And we're going to start seeing him now try to obviously go into this, and I would assume he's swinging into
Okay,
Makino.
swing. Yeah, get that 6k block there.
Sure, yeah, as you do. Does
And
he
now, even
have
if you want to
the?
bounce the Law, he's gotten the effect.
Does he have the Ivankov?
Just hasn't really been able to go wide enough to put a lot of pressure on. Braden just doing a really good job at getting these 5k attacks in, and thankfully for him, they've been able to go through. 8 Don to work with for Ivankov, and we see 1 come down for
Yeah.
Perona to
Yep. Rearrange top
re-establish that
5.
top 5.
Yep.
See what your next few turns of draw will be. And is there an answer in there, basically?
Yeah. Pretty much. He swung with leader now. He's still got quite a bit of Don available, and he's still got the 7k Luffy.
Yeah,
But you're still
which can
staring at
bounce.
a Rush Zoro and also the Law blocker. You really need to get rid of one or both this turn somehow.
Hmm.
And if Ernest is able to obviously get rid of both, then he'll be
I
in a
think
much
that'd be
better
very
position.
difficult. I think it'd be quite
Oh,
difficult to
I
get
agree. I don't think he'll be
both.
able to get both of them gone, but yeah, he needs to really at least, at minimum, get rid of one of these. They're both very, very strong cards. They're both obviously playing to the play style and the situation that
Yeah.
Braden wants to kind of sit at.
He can attack Luffy into the Law to pitch the 2 cards to bounce the Zoro back. That's probably the best way that he has to remove both of them off the field. It's then going to cost Braden a lot of cards to protect the Law, depending on how many Don is under the Luffy, and yeah, just to remove that Zoro off the field. The 1-drops being bounced back is just not good enough. They're just going to be too established too easily. And Makino and Nami still on the field, so another 5k Nami attack potentially coming the following turn that is just eating away at this Ivankov's hand that's so small.
And there's
We
the
see there
Ivankov.
Ivankov, yeah, being able to draw. We obviously rearrange that top 5, so we could get the blocker out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now
I think
gets
he's
the
only got
7k
1
sword.
card in hand, or is that 2?
I think it's more than 1. Yeah, he has 2. Yep.
Yeah, he's got 2. Yeah, so you
Discarding
can
them
pitch
both.
them, bounce the Zoro back, 7k into the Makino, and then leader effect will draw back up again.
And he got to see all 5 of those cards.
Yeah, so he knows exactly what's in his hand. Oh, he knew what he was going to draw, I should say.
Yep. And now you've kind of mitigated this board from Braden. You've brought him down now to 2 cards again, two bodies on the field. Very, very manageable. And again, when you get into this weird spot with Ivankov, when you're staring at it, you've got the 7 cost, you've got the 7k Luffy as well, you've got a 5k blocker on the field. Hand size starts to not matter as much as board presence does. And you see Braden here putting down the Bonnie, getting the look at top 5, missing everything.
Oh, got a whiff.
Rearranging them to the bottom, but that's not a good sign.
Yeah, that's the problem with having so many searches as well, is that they all search for unique things. It's hard to get that combination right.
And they put them to the bottom after they're done. You're never going to see those cards again.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, it does get a little bit more difficult here for Law with all of these 7k attackers coming in that can obviously put a lot of pressure onto the leader. Does still have 4 life, which is good. But yeah, just opting to get all of these 5k swings. Doesn't need to
Mm,
commit any Don into these attacks, just because the hand size is so small. Obviously, the blocker now gets the boost because there's only one card in hand.
hmm Using nothing, next to nothing here for Ernest.
Mm. So it's now a 7k blocker.
The Bonnie coming in. Establishing 4 bodies on the board again. Seeing if you can actually hit something here. Looking at hand first, I was going to say, surely you don't whiff on top 10.
Yeah, you would
But,
hope not.
that has obviously happened before, so there's not really much you can do. Like you said, there's so many searches, so many different traits on these cards.
Mm.
And yeah, I mean, he doesn't look like he's playing beige at all. Like in the past 2 games we've kind of watched, haven't seen it come out once. Um, but it's starting to look like a board of green too. So you really do want to see another small weenie 1-drop that might be red.
Yeah, thankfully you do still have the Nami.
Hmm.
We know that he's got a Zoro in hand as
Yeah,
well.
exactly.
You don't want to be paying 3 for that at
That's
this
what I
point.
mean. Yeah, absolutely agree. And there it is. There's the
There's
beige.
beige.
Okay. Nice. So if he really wanted to, yeah, 1 for beige, I would say. And then if he's got the other law, then he'll be able to bounce the Nami back to play the law. Then he'll be able to bounce the Bonnie back to play the 3-cost Zoro, and that still does give him that 1 red on field at least.
Yeah, and then he can play the Nami the following turn.
Exactly,
Something
and
gets
replace
removed
it.
anyway.
I mean, he'll probably block with the beige at one point.
Yeah,
So
or
it'll
it'll get
free up.
bounced.
Yeah, exactly. Opting to swing with the law instead. Yeah, nice. Knows
He's
his
getting the
opponent.
value while he can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gets that 7k attack in, and it's going to be difficult to protect this. Thankfully, he has the 1k counter to protect, and at best, we're going to see a 6k Zoro swing if he opts to play that card. So the blocker is going to live through this turn.
Do you even go 6 with lead? I mean, with Zoro, I don't think so.
Oh, there's no need to, but I'm just saying that there's no way
Yeah.
for him to remove the blocker or the Luffy, since at max he can get twos. Oh, okay, Oxford. So this can clean up one of these cards on the field, and Oxford Luffy, yeah, which
Nice.
is being able to bounce cards
Very
back.
nice. Very nice. Yeah. Knowing that if he just goes for life here, it's not going to give him any better advantage than controlling the board, but it is going to give your opponent an extra card in hand. And, now it's up to whatever the top card was on your turn. And if it's nothing that you can really play or that's going to have a crazy effect and it ends up doing absolute 0 for you, and here we go. It's just a 1-cost buggy. Nice.
Yeah, and I think Ivankov did put that card last. I think that was the 5th card that he would have rearranged with the Perona. I think he would have drawn the 2 off the 7-cost Ivankov, pitched his hand, and then drawn 2 off the leader at the end of turn, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you might be right.
So now he just gets the ability to search the top 5 again. And we start seeing the separation of Donya.
Yeah. Some good board presence here. Like, obviously, he'll be able to swing in with the Verona if he wants to get rid of the Jewelry Bonnie. And yeah, he's going to do so, which very smart to kind of do that. It's, these low costs that have used their effects and have, successfully done what they needed to do. Available to kind of clean up your opponent's exact, situational ones as well. And now swinging 8 with Ivankov into the Luffy or the Law, I would say. And yeah, Beige is just going to get comboed out.
I think this would be the Luffy as well, just the threat of an unblockable card.
Yeah.
And we see that Chopper peeking out at the back of Brayden's hand again, just that camera angle. Ivankov obviously doing a good job of leaving the cards face down on the field. But we just see that camera angle just revealing just that little bit too much information there.
I think a lot of players are doing it that way as well. Now they're putting their cards down on their playmat. They're using a die to show the cards that they have.
Yep.
And yeah, you see Braden just trying to save the rush Luffy, and he knows again that is very critical. That
Yep.
Luffy does stay in.
Yeah, and you need to swing with a blocker here if you want to try and remove it. And he's going to. Does it still have that 2k buff, or is that only on your opponent's
I think
turn?
it does.
Okay. Yeah.
As long as it's got it, like it's kind of like a permanent.
Yeah.
And he's
Okay.
able to get rid of that, and now ends up playing the other forecast here.
Yeah, another blocker on the field. So
And this is
gets
what
the
I
card
was-
out of hand
Yep.
and draws another 2 new cards.
This is what I was saying to you. When you're playing Ivankov, there's not really many things that you can kind of like do. But then when you get the board state into the way that it is here, card advantage in hand doesn't matter to you at all.
Yeah.
You got 2 5K
Still has a lot of
blockers.
life.
Yeah.
A lot of life to push through on the law side, though.
Yeah.
Obviously, that is something to be mindful of. Is he hasn't taken a single damage. Obviously, he's been through a lot of 1-drops at this point, but
Yeah.
it's just a bit of a grind, isn't it? And both of these players would be 5-0 at this point. So really just trying to secure their spot within the top 16 here. You're only a couple of wins away from guaranteeing it.
Yep.
And now you're playing up against some pretty good players here. Nami with it swinging to Corona. Do you think Law focuses on the field here? We know they've got a rush Zoro in hand.
Yeah, I feel like he has to. Because, Ivankov always has low hand size, right? So you know that your opponent may have 1k, if at best 2k, but chances of obviously having, those exactly is not really likely. So yeah, he's going to start swinging now. He's going to go 5, I would assume, Inazuma.
5 at life.
Yeah. Oh, and he still combos out of it too. Yeah, Inazuma does now go to 7.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't really matter, I guess. If he swung into the Inazuma, he still combos out of it, right? So
yeah.
And now 1 for the chopper. He's going to be able to do his old shenanigans, paying 2. And now the field is 3 red, 2 green. A much better spot that you want to be at. Going to go 7,
Yeah.
I would assume, at Ivankov.
Yeah. Or you'd probably swing it at the Azuma at this point, since they're both going to be 7k attackers and 7k, and one's a blocker.
Oh, it doesn't matter, actually. He did combo out of it, yeah. Paying 2, get rid of the Nami. Here comes the Law.
Yeah.
And what do you bring out? You just replace the Jewelry Bonnie with another Nami, search top 5, and then pass. Thinking about what best option he has, yeah.
Bit of a battle of the blockers, isn't it?
It really is. Now there's 2 blockers on each, 3 on the side of Braden. And both players not really doing much to deal with it. And he's going to bounce the Zoro, replay it, and then I guess
he can get a guaranteed damage in here. If he wants to block, then that card will go. He's got no cards in hand to protect that blocker.
Yep. And I agree. Oh, he's actually going to opt to actually block it. Yeah.
Yeah, gets the 1 blocker off the field. And it's good because that card can attack, and at the end of the turn, and swings with the Law. Okay, getting the damage in while he can. That card can, Mr. 3 can pitch a card at the end of turn restand.
Oh, man.
That's twice we've seen this trigger bounce back a chopper.
Wow. Still, 4 life for Braden. He's still sitting very, very comfortably. Obviously, there are a few bodies on field. The blocker, he'll probably, I would assume, maybe just keep active for next turn.
Yeah.
Does have the 7k Ivankov that will probably be able to swing into, blocker Law, rush Zoro if he wanted. Obviously he's got leader as well. And it depends what he
clean up the Bonnie.
Yeah.
Which we'll see here.
Yeah.
Just keeping that field as low as possible.
You have to.
Yeah. We see the 7k probably into the Zoro. And time, not really too much of a factor at this point. They've still got 15 minutes of
Yeah, it's not
regular
that they're
time. So
pushing. Yeah.
yeah, so still playing pretty quickly, but we're definitely getting into the later stages of this game.
10k
10k
swing.
attack. Yep, we'll get rid of that, that law. Opt to play something out probably. Yeah, we
Wow.
see a 5-drop crocodile and be able to get 2 fresh new cards. And again, you're just at the mercy of those top 2 random
Yeah.
cards, aren't you? You get 2 cards with no counter power and it would just be crushing. Braden just powering through his turn. Jesus.
Yeah, snaps it down. He knows. Like, this is the thing that like you find with a lot more of the confident players, right? When
Mm,
it's your opponent's turn, you're already thinking about what you want to do for your turn.
yeah.
That kind of separates the players that have played their deck quite a bit, have also considered thinking about what they're going to do
Mm,
while their opponent's taking theirs. Because sometimes, your opponent does take a couple minutes to figure out or, like, play a little bit slower to do the right thing. And in your mind, you already know what you want to do on the next turn, regardless of how the situation comes out. He had a chopper in hand, he had an army in hand. He wants both of them to come down, and he's going to instantly look at the top 5 to make sure that he is able to replenish that card itself. So
yeah.
not mucking around. Um,
I think a Rush Luffy would be really powerful in this position. He's obviously only got one blocker
mm,
established on Ivankov's side. If you're able to put pressure on with the Law and the Law Leader to get him down to 0, you
mm.
could be able to close out this game with a Rush Luffy the following turn. You still got 4 life, so you're not really in threat of losing.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think if he plays a Rush Luffy here, and that's the only thing that he does next, he
I
can.
don't even think he
Yeah,
needs to
beautiful,
play it here. I
beautiful.
think he can just establish it the following turn and swing for 11. He might opt to, yeah, play this law.
Interesting.
If he can play another Zoro or a Nami, yeah, to get that search again. And we need one of these attacks to connect, either the leader or
Oh,
the
nice
law
find.
blocker.
I
Yeah,
think he
that's
just
good.
plays that now, right? For 3, and then you just go 5, like both 5s, and then if he really wants to go for the 6, depending on how his opponent actually like takes this point in time, it's going to
Yeah,
be
what
interesting.
cards
Yeah,
did
yeah,
you
yeah.
randomly get?
Yeah, I think this is a great spot for Braden to be in again.
Yeah, both just relying on the top 5 searches and random cards that they're getting off their leader effect to kind of pull them through this game.
And now it's coming to the point. There you go. There's the buggy.
Yeah, one
Don't
K
really want to
block,
get rid
one
of
K
that card.
counter.
Let's be realistic here. That is a very, very big card to take out of your opponent's hand. And now
Mm,
Braden is thinking about, like, do I put the pressure on with the 6? If he ends
yeah.
up blocking with the Inazuma, then that's great. Another blocker off the field. If he ends
Yeah.
up taking it, then even better. He's on 0 life. But if he ends up using a 2k from hand, again, Ivankov is just playing at the
Oh,
randomization.
has the 2K counter,
Wow.
plays the law, and passes. There's no need to attack here. Obviously, it's just going to get a free block. So we'll just play the Zoro out onto the field and leave it in active mode. And
Planning to go
now,
next turn for game.
yeah, once this law in rest is removed, everything has to go into face and give Braden more cards in hand,
Yeah.
unless he can find a way to bounce these cards back.
And that's the scary thing now. If he doesn't get rid of that law that's in rest, which he obviously will try and focus on now, you're staring down a 6-6-5 and lead, and also obviously being able to bounce something and play something in return.
Yeah.
Not a position you really want to be in here if you're Ernest.
Yeah, if Braden can find a way to play that Luffy through the leader effect for only 2 Don, then it might only require one small weenie to be able to play on the field to establish the 5 characters, and then the remaining Don can just go under that Rush Luffy to close out the game. Braden flexing his ultimate art leader.
That would be the ultimate flex. If you
This
had the
is
altar in
the
that
secret.
same.
This is the secret altar leader. The bottom of the bin.
This deck is trash from set 1. All of a sudden, get support in set 2. Wait a minute, where did I put that law leader? And wow, just going 5 on the buggy to try and keep pressure on. And if you're Braden here, I almost would take that. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to avoid blocking here. There's just so much life that you can take and gain those cards into hand. You're not really at any kind of threat of losing here. At best, he plays another blocker, which you're not too concerned about because you know that you've got the Luffy in hand.
Yeah, exactly. This is very, very interesting. Well, he has the Luffy in hand, but he does need the green card on field to be able to bounce it. You know, he won't be able to play the Luffy cheap.
Wait, he can just play it for 5 and put the remaining Don and swing for 11. At best, you've got 1 blocker and the 2 cards in hand. He's got no Don available, so at best he's got 2Ks, which is 9K worth of counter, unless there's that event card that you can activate for 0. But I think that only you pitch a card and you only gain 3 off the top of my head.
And now what you're going to do here, you'd probably just go in, with the Zoro, and then swing with lead, and then just play the unblockable, and then go for game.
Yeah, you need to find a way to deal this 1 damage.
And obviously your opponent has 5K. And now here's the thing. He's swinging 8K with Zoro. Unless he drew 2Ks.
7 with Zoro.
7 with Zoro, but he still needs 2. He needs a 2 and a 1, yeah.
2 and a 1? Yeah.
Did he actually manage to find that?
The blocker doesn't have the boost.
Using
he has
it,
2 cards in hand.
Yep. Perfect. Now,
we
you
might
just
see
swing
a law,
5 and 6,
right?
right?
The law, yeah, I think you swing with the blocker here as well.
Yeah, this is the better. Interesting.
Nami search. Still fine. You can still swing with the law and then bounce it.
I think you do obviously go for the law swing for 6. Yeah, I would be swinging with it first, absolutely, and then playing the Luffy rush in response. Yeah.
Swing for 7. You're either going to pitch your whole hand or you're going to take this life. Yep. Might see a 5K leader swing, get another card out.
You don't even need to go for the rush Luffy here.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, he just packs it up. He just says, I can't
cards.
do it.
Yeah, that's the randomness that comes with Ivankov.
You don't, and again, you don't really need to play the rush Luffy, right? I guess at that point, you just add the 6 dollars to the Nami and go for 8. Same situation.
Put under leader.
But that is it, guys. That's round number 6 down in the books. Braden going back-to-back on stream and back-to-back wins. That's an amazing feat itself. Obviously, Ivankov coming in, showing its respect, and see what I mean about the ability to kind of keep those cards on field. And, the Croc was there for a few turns. The Ivankov was there for a few turns. Even the Luffy, obviously, the first one that he played was there for a few turns. And really showing that once the board presence gets set up, the hand size doesn't really matter too much. It's just very, very hard to really put the damage on with other leaders, because you have to start trying to deal with this board. But Braden putting in the early pressure, bringing Ivankov down to like 1 life for about 2 turns. So you could tell that Ernest was really feeling the pressure coming into that. So that is it from us, guys. We'll chop it back to us and we'll find out how long we've got until the next round. I don't think there will be that much left, but let's send it back and get us an idea of what we're looking at for round number 7 coming up.